Hi, I'm Trilby, and I'll be guiding you through a short and sweet series for the lower body today. So we're going to work our major muscle groups to feel more grounded, more held in our lower half so that we can participate in all of our favorite activities, feeling held and safe. So with that, we'll come onto our backs from here. And you can just pivot the feet as wide as your mat, and then melt your spine all the way down. You can even turn your toes out a little bit here. Arms can come down by your sides, and I would encourage you to have your palms facing up to really open up the collarbones. And then feel the heels get heavy in the earth. Feel the shoulder blades melt into the ground. And we'll begin to warm up the spine and sacrum here. So tuck the tailbone, press into your heels, and begin to peel your hips one vertebra up at a time, keeping the ribs grounded as you lift. And then once you get to the top and feel that little squeeze of the glutes, we'll take it all the way back down. Melting middle back, lower back, and again, feeling the natural curvature of your spine as you move through these hip rolls. So just taking a few here, noticing your breath. Naturally, the breath will probably slow down as you start to really hone in on sensation here, and maybe even closing the eyes if that feels nice. When we reduce our vision, our other senses can start to come online here. So just notice that opening up of the hip flexors at the top, building slight warmth, awareness of the lower body before we get into some real contraction of those major muscles. We'll take a couple more waves here, probably starting to feel a bit more fluid, a bit more intuitive. And then the last one will all meet with those hips elevated, nice and high, heavy through the ribs. And from here, begin to hinge the hips all the way down and then pressing back up. So you've got options here. You can have the whole sole of the foot ground. If you want to challenge yourself a little bit here, you can lift the toe. So it's just the heel that is anchoring you. Right away, you'll feel a little bit more instability. And then you're welcome to let the glutes tap the ground really gently or hover them 1 inch above the earth. So let the descent be as effortful as the rise, folding at the hip crease as you lower, and then lifting and opening up at the top. Perhaps inhale as you dip down, exhale as you lift up. Take a few more here, checking in on the upper half just to make sure the shoulders are relaxed. There's equal weight in the shoulder blades. That navel is tugging to spine. So the abdominals are working here to support you in this lift and lower. And at the top of your next lift, we'll hold and find that squeeze of the glutes and begin to knock your knees into touch, keeping the hips right where they are, and then pivot and turn them out nice and wide. So you can image your femur bone is your thigh bone massaging the inside of your hip capsule here. So we're getting a little mobilization as well as strengthening, maybe pivoting solely on that heel, or you can keep that whole sole grounded. Couple more here, probably starting to feel the glutes light up and build a little bit of heat and sensation. Turning out and then knocking in, and then just notice the face, the jaw, finding that softness where you can amidst the effort of this shape. And then we'll combine those two moves. So you'll take the knees wide, keep the hips lifted. As the knees knock in, dip the hips down, and then open and lift back up. So we're synchronizing those two shapes, the dips and the knee open and close. So it starts to become a little bit more fluid, melting those two expressions into each other. And then again, checking in on the breath, your life force. That's what's fueling your movement here. Each and every cell in that lower body. Keep the breath nice and nurturing. Full inhales, full exhales. And then at the top of your next lift, we'll hold here. Take a tiny little pulse of the hips, up an inch, down an inch. Just gathering, hugging, squeezing, feeling all that vibrancy, all of that vibration for 4, 3, 2, and hold it. Lower the toes if you lifted them, and then graciously melt your spine down, upper, middle, low back. Pulling those knees into chest, fan out the glutes, rock out the sacrum. And just enjoy that sweet, sweet release. So the legs should be feeling nice and turned on now, nice and warm. And then we'll roll onto our side. You can place the feet down, doesn't matter which side you roll onto. Coming into tabletop. So you'll take your hands underneath your shoulders, hips on top of the knees, and then find a softness in your elbows here. You've got a couple of options. You can be on your hands if that feels good. You can come down to your forearms, making little train tracks with the forearms if that feels better. Or you can take your left forearm parallel to the top edge of the mat, and then take that right hand and just tent it off to the side. We're going to get into the right leg here. So begin to kick the leg back nice and long, hip height. Draw the knee in and then take it out wide, 9-degree bend into a hydrant. So the first few, we're just finding the shape, we're finding sensation. And then slowly with repetition, it becomes familiar and the shapes begin to melt into one another. So gliding that knee out to the side and then sending those toes long behind you. So the upper body is working quite hard here to keep you anchored and stabilized. Think about opening up and widening the collarbones. The neck is nice and long. The gaze is down towards the ground. And I like to think of fluffing up the back of my lungs here, so I'm not dumping the chest down towards the ground. There's a feeling of lifting out of the shoulders. And then maybe image yourself moving through like quicksand or molasses. There's a little bit of friction, a little bit of resistance. Hugging and wrapping those ribs in, knowing you can always adjust your upper body here if you feel called to. We'll take a couple more here, sliding the shoulders down the back. And again, taking inventory of any unnecessary tension, perhaps in the face or the shoulders. We want all of that energy sent into our lower extremities. Next time the leg goes long behind you, hold it here. Take a bend in that knee, flex the foot, and then take some little pulses here, like you're trying to stamp the heel to the sky. You might want to change up the arms now and come down to your forearms. Sometimes it's nice to keep things interesting for the upper body so we don't overtax any one region of the arm, of the wrist, etc. And then round that upper back a little bit more. Keep pulsing here, feeling that hamstring and glute light up. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly lower that leg. And then we'll get into our second side. So I'll just flip over here so you can see me nice and clearly. Coming down, whichever version works best for your upper body. I'm gonna come down to that right forearm, plant the left fingertips off to the side. And then again, we've done this before. Left leg reaching long now. Put a bend in the knee and then glide that knee out wide to the side. So as we're moving here, notice the side waist, that left oblique. You'll feel it squeeze and engage every time you take that knee wide to the side. So really the whole body is working together. It is you holding you head to toe, finding that length in your strength, softness where you can. Upper body has got you. And then if you want to kind of spice this up, you can use your imagination, really squeeze at the top. Imagine you're striking a match every time you reach the top of each shape, and allow it to get a little bit more fluid, dynamic. We're warming up that hip as we're strengthening that left cheek. The right side has got you, that right thigh perpendicular to the ground, anchoring you in space. And then checking in on the depth, the quality of your breath here. So it's high repetition. It almost starts to feel like a meditative quality. We know what's going on. The shape is landed in our bones. Now we just get to witness our body build strength and stamina. One lift, one breath at a time. Couple more here, really lighting up that left side, evening ourselves out. And then the next time your leg goes long, hold it here, put a bend in that knee, flex the heel to the sky, and find those little tiny, subtle yet powerful pulses. Again, you can take your arms, adjust them if you need to, rounding in between the shoulder blades, keeping that neck nice and long, spine soft. Image yourself almost reaching the sky with that heel. Check in on the abdominals, check in on those ribs. For 4, last 3, last 2, and let it go slowly. Plant the palms, tuck the toes, lift your seat high to the sky, find a down dog here or child's pose, and just sway the hips. So give yourself a moment of grace here to notice all that sensation coursing through those legs, pedaling out the feet if that feels good. And then we'll walk the hands and feet to the middle of our mat. Gently finding a fold here. Bend the knees as much as you need to. And begin to roll yourself up like a rag doll. Arms are like wet spaghetti. You're rounding the spine, chin to chest. Slowly, slowly, slowly arriving nice and tall, rolling the shoulders down your back. And from here, we'll come feet a little bit wider than hip distance apart. And again, find that big roll of the shoulders to really open up your posture, open up your chest. Nice, simple squat, taking the hips down and then gliding up. So think about you're trying to plug your sit bones into a wall behind you. Don't worry so much about the turnout of your feet. That is very unique to each of us, depending on how we're built and what feels comfortable. I like to think about my core here. So it's allowing me to send my hips back to keep my chest open. And we're feeling that nice deep fold in the hips. And right away, you're gonna feel your heart rate elevate a little bit here. The breath quickens a little bit. So you can stay right here. And if you want to challenge your balance and stability, you're welcome to lift your heels up at the top and then gently melt them down. So you'll feel some shakes if you fall over. It's no big deal. It's kind of the point. So working on this ankle stability is really, really helpful if you like to hike, or really kind of prevents us from rolling an ankle when we might trip over a root, or if we're dancing and we need to find balance. So couple more like this. Relax the shoulders, relax the face. Find that calming breath as the heart quickens. And at the bottom of this next one, we'll hold it low and find a little pulse up and down. So really juicing out the legs here, sending the seat back, sending the crown of head forward, heavy heels, soft toes. You can take the hands behind your low back. You can take them in front of your heart. For 3, 2, 1, we'll hold. Now right heel lifts and lowers, left heel lifts and lowers. And if you're like, I need a break, straighten those legs, shake them out, and then you can join me here. Just a couple more, nice and deep, building that heat, that fire in those quads. Last 4 here. 4, 3, last 2, and last 1. Holding, final piece here. We're gonna walk it side to side. 2 steps to the right, and then 2 steps to the left. You can do whatever you like with your hands, maybe taking them to the hips to start, just to find the legs, to ground yourself into this shape. I like to think about massaging toe ball heel into the floor, like you're moving through quicksand or something kind of sticky under those feet. Checking in on that core connection. And then maybe starting to add the arms. You can let it be a little groovy, sinking a little deeper, knowing we're almost there, as low as you want to go for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Straighten those legs. Hands come to body. Drop the chin down. Feel your heartbeat, feel your breath. And then ungrip, let the shoulders soften. Acknowledge the hard work is behind you. Now we get to soothe ourselves and reap the rewards. So all together, nice full breath in. Let it out. Let's do 2 more like that. Slowly in and release. 1 more time. And empty. Already feeling a bit more grounded. Take the hands down, drop the chin slowly, 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 rounding the back, and then hanging over your legs. Bend the knees as much as you need to here. Maybe catch for opposite elbows and just dangle yourself. Opening up the back of the legs, air them out. They're probably feeling a little spicy. Rounding that upper spine, decompressing the low back, and then coming to center. You can take your fingertips down, coming to one shin at a time, crossing the legs or finding a kneel. And then take the hands to your body, anywhere that feels good. Soften the eyelids closed or let some light in and just be witness to all of that sensation. Perhaps feeling a bit more connected, grounded, and held. And then notice the breath, how quickly you can recover. Image that inhale and exhale like a tide pulling in and out. Just ensuring we can take that nervous system back into a rest and digest state. And then all together we'll finish with a full breath in all the way to the top. And then clear the heat out. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you're feeling nice and held in your lower half and ready to take on the rest of your day. I'll see you very soon.